Welcome everybody into Next Level Rugby Studio. We're really excited. I'm Ryan Ginty, got my man Tyler Deutsch right here, and we're getting ready for week 4 action underway. Tyler, it's been a good ride so far. What can we expect out of this weekend?
Oh, I think it's going to be no less exciting than the first 3 weeks of the season here. A lot to look forward to coming up this week. Why don't you start us off with the Guiltinis making their appear back?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, we look at this LA Guiltini side right now. They're 2-0 facing a Toronto side that's 1-2. Came out, got the job done last weekend against an Old Glory DC side that we thought was going to be gangbusters, right? But Toronto just went into their house, took them down, and really brought that DC team back to earth. If we look at it, their possession is pretty much even. This game is going to be going off at 1:30 Eastern, coming from the gold mine. Toronto, they are on the road. They played a home game in Atlanta. Now they're playing a home game in New Orleans. That back and forth, they really can't be traveling across the border like that. But one of the things that's really interesting off of this, if you look at it, 89% this LA team off of their lineups, right? Versus 75% for Toronto. It's been a little bit messy in there. Attack. This LA team is the first team. They're the best team in attack.
Yeah, no, definitely number 1 in the league right now. Toronto is sitting at number 5 for defense, so it's going to have to be a tough tell whether or not Toronto is going to be able to withhold the LA Guiltinis attack this coming Saturday.
All right, we talk about that attack. We're going to talk, it's an Australian affair. If we're being honest, this is an Australian affair right here. Angus Cottrell, actually, he might be an Australian. I don't know, but we're not going to give him that credit right now because I'm not going to say something I don't know. But Harrison Goddard, right, that 9 coming out, got 3 tries. Angus Cottrell's got 3 tries. And then you got Adam Ashley Cooper and Matt Giteau. These two right here, 224 caps for the Australian national team in that thing. That midfield is pretty dangerous.
Yeah, no, definitely 2 major world superstars now taking place here home in the MLR. One of the big things, too, that we've noticed is in 2 games, the LA Guiltinis have managed to rack up 99 points compared to the Toronto's 73 points in 3 games.
Only 3 games.
3 games.
Only 3 games. That's impressive right there. And then just not to hit it again, right? Let's just talk. Adam Ashley Cooper, Matt Giteau, 121 caps, the 3rd all-time Wallaby. He scored some awesome tries coming out, and Adam Ashley Cooper, he's got this backline humming. We haven't really talked too much about this Toronto side. We're not going to count them out, right? But players like Jason Higgins absolutely tearing it up. He's a player to watch out for that team. And then also Manuel Diana, he's got 2 tries as well for that forward pack, and that's going to be an interesting game. So that's that first game. That's at 1:30 p.m. Check that out. That's going to be on the Rugby Network. That's how you're going to see it across the world if you don't have Cox Sports and you're not in that location. So Tyler, let's go ahead. Let's move over into this Austin at NOLA game. Tell me first impressions about this and what you're thinking.
Well, really, I mean, the AG is really starting to bloom as a team here. We saw them in the Texas Cup, obviously keeping the cup at home here in Austin, beating the Houston SaberCats in a double-week shutout for the Houston SaberCats. But players to look out for like Mason Koch coming in from Dartmouth College, one of the stars actually coming out of the collegial MLR draft.
Yeah, you see that, him, Connor Mooneyham, 2 guys that are making some big impacts on this Austin Gilgroni side that are coming out of that collegiate draft that we talk about, right? And it's just proving the effects and the reason why this draft is so important, why it's a good thing for Major League Rugby, identifying that talent that's happening at that collegiate level. And we know Dartmouth, those guys are a factory powerhouse. You got a number of guys and pretty much the whole management and ownership team for the New England Free Jacks, all Dartmouth guys. So, they've always had a big impact on men's and women's rugby here in the States, so that'd be a good one. But this Austin team coming in, as you said, 1-2, lost their first 2 games, got that win against Houston. Houston, we don't really know where they're at, but we'll table that discussion for when we actually talk about them. But this NOLA side, 1-1, coming off of a bye week. They tied the first game against Old Glory DC. They really came back and they won that game in the end, which was a big thing. Tied the game, not won the game, I apologize. Tied the game, coming back. And then they came out and then they were just gangbusters and just absolutely destroyed a New York team that we thought were pretty good. Had a good match against San Diego in their first game as well too. We look at that right now. NOLA is 2nd in attack right now. And one of the big players that they have that is absolutely crazy is Joely Tukasova, right? He's got 3 tries. And then also Carl Meyer, the boot of Carl Meyer in the center midfield. Like, that guy's tearing it up for NOLA as well, too.
Definitely. And one of the huge things we saw in the New York game is stats were pretty much, tied throughout the entire game, but NOLA really decided to win the game and keep scoring points, even though New York remained about 20% more ball possession than NOLA throughout the game. but where Nola came in was in their lineouts, which is one of the stats where you could really see that Nola took the higher ground and obviously made their win a little bit larger with those stats.
And speaking of those lineouts, 96% lineout efficiency, right?
Incredible.
And here's another one for you, Tyler. 100% scrum efficiency. Right, they have not lost a scrum yet, right? They've only played 2 games, but that scrum, that set piece for this NOLA team is dominant down at the goal line. You know those fans are going to be getting jacked up. But one of the things that we really got to talk about with this Austin side, it's going to be Bryce Campbell is coming back. Bryce Campbell back on the field. He's going to be partnering up with Kurt Marath. Kurt Marath wearing that 12 jersey, so that midfield pairing is going to be good against JP Duplessis and Juan Capiello. Other thing of note, the 10 that'll be steering the ship this week for NOLA, Timothy Guillermin, right? He's been the journeyman. He was here originally with this Austin team before they were the AGs, the Herd, the Elite, right? Going all the way back, Timothy. Then he played some time up in New England. Now he's found a home and a spot. He's going to be taking over that 10 jersey for this NOLA Gold team. And I think we're going to really start to see them move the ship. I'm excited to see what that's going on. 77 points in 2 games for this NOLA side. It's not exactly the 99 that the LA Giltini's offense had, but at the same time, this is good. The one big player that I really want to see come up and turn up in this game and really start to take over this league is Cam Dolan. Cam Dolan, you know, a life product, old blue, played all over the place. He's a leader, played for the national team, right? That 8-man, I'm just waiting for him to just grab it. And I think this might be the week that Cam Dolan comes out and has his breakout performance, all that we know that he could have.
Definitely. Well, let's take a look into the next game here. Looks like we got San Diego versus Houston. Obviously, 2 big losses for the teams. You know, and tell me a little bit, Ryan, about the effect that this game is going to have on the Western Conference.
Well, the Western Conference, this is a humongous game for this because both these teams could be at the bottom of the table after this match, depending upon where it goes. Seattle only sitting behind them right now in last place, current standings. We are only in week 4 right now. We only played 3 weeks of Major League Rugby action, but these battles are starting to play out. Now, every win's going to be important, especially this Houston side. I mean, they got to get a win. Right, we saw last week they just absolutely got dismantled. The last 2 weeks in a row, didn't score any points, weren't able to get the job done. And we saw after the last match, like Sam Windsor had them all pulled together, and he was giving a motivational speech to his guys. And you know, he's saying, "We're not taking this anymore. We're coming into the San Diego team. They're 1-2. We're 1-2. We need to put the marker down. We need to have that." But Houston, you know, they're last in the league in their attack in 12th place. Their defense is sitting at 8th as well too. But the one good thing that they do have is that they do have a good set piece in their scrum. They're averaging 96% wins on their scrum, so that is effective. With the 78% on their lineouts, so probably got to tighten that up a little bit. But as you said before, a big donut for the last 2 weeks.
Definitely. And one thing you don't want to do is count the Houston SaberCats out. While they may have not scored any points within the last 2 games, they get to that 5-meter line, and then all of a sudden it seems to not go through for them, and they haven't been able to complete, but they've been getting right where they need to. It really is. Can they come through with the completion and get some points here against San Diego at their home pitch?
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily just the red zone. They're not converting in the red zone. They're not converting within 5 meters of the try line. 5 meters. They're not able to do it, and they turn the ball over multiple times. They have so far on the season 40 penalties. San Diego's got 45, so they're no saints themselves as well, but that's something they got to pay attention to. Let's not sleep on Sam Muching as well too, right? Sam Muching coming in, he's really taken that offensive powerhouse role for the San Diego team. Got 2 tries, 1 gangbusters try against that ATL loss that they took. Took a pretty good thumping down in Atlanta last weekend with a team that's just starting to hit their stride, but we'll talk about them in a little bit as well. But also the biggest thing, right? I know we keep talking about big things, but Chris Robshaw, off his suspension from the Babas, you know, that whole little debacle thing that he kind of got, you know, lost a couple games out of the season, unfortunately, but Chris Robshaw, he is an absolute consummate professional.
Definitely, and that's just some of the minor big news that's been happening for San Diego. Going to be going back from Las Vegas to their own home pitch after this week. And as well, they're going to be introducing Chris Robshaw was one of the major signings for them this year in 2021.
Yeah, we look at the pairings right now that I'm really excited about. Joe Peterson, no surprise there, running the ship at 10, right? The boot of Joe Peterson, just that game management, everything that he brings to the field, gonna be exciting. But then also, you have Dylan Audsley. Dylan Audsley, man, he's playing 12, right? Which bumps Cecil Africa. Now Cecil Africa is gonna be coming in. He's gonna be starting for this on the 15, taking what Dylan was playing last weekend. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. And they're going to be matching up against Robert Povey, and then Sam Windsor sitting in at the 12th spot, right? So now you're taking Sam, which is normally in the 10 spot, 10 jersey, running the ship. He's going to be moving to 12, so now you've got a distributor and a ball maker that's out into the midfield, which might widen things up. And actually, like, I mean, they got Bellicana, they got great wings, they got a great backfield. Zach Pangilinan for this Houston side, you know, they could get it working. This could be the week that they get it going. San Diego 9th in defense, right? So they're sitting in 9th in defense right now. So that could be the opening that they need coming into it. All right, going over into Seattle at Utah. Zions Bank Stadium. Big home field advantage for this Utah team. They're coming off of a loss last week against a really good Free Jack side. They almost came back and won it last week. But Seattle 0-2, Utah 2-1. That's going to be on at 9 p.m. Watch that on the Rugby Network. If you're not watching that game, you're wrong. You've got no reason to miss that. But tell me a little bit about some of the people that we really got to pay attention to in this game.
Well, definitely on the Utah side, you want to keep an eye out for Mikey Teo and that boot of his. I mean, he showed that he can use his boot really well and super effectively, scoring Utah 2 tries last week, as well as earning them an extra bonus point in the last minute of the game, which was huge for Utah.
That's right. They're sitting at the top of the standings right now, and had they not got that try in the 81st minute off of a great effort, well, Lance Williams, right? I'd say great individual effort, but Lance Williams, he's also got 2 tries this season with Mikey Teo as well, too. But, I mean, he's really doing a great job of distributing that ball, creating that space, and getting that ball moving into their hands. Also, Sama Malola. Like, that guy, 3 tries, he's a beast to watch out for as well, too.
Definitely.
On that Seattle side, James Malcolm and Rhino Herbst, gonna need big games out of those guys. They already account for 4 of the tries that Seattle scored so far this season. Really gonna need them to step up. And the big player I really need to show up this week is Ross Neal. Ross Neal is big signing. You know, he's been kind of in and out, hasn't made the biggest impact that we expect him to make with the Seattle side. But we'll see. Hopefully this week he can take it away.
Yeah, definitely. And one thing you don't want to do is count Seattle out, because they have had a pretty tough schedule so far. A tough loss to the Houston SaberCats, but going against the number 1 team, the Guillotines, and now the number 1 team in week number 4, the Utah Warriors.
Yeah, so that's right. So that's going to be on 9 p.m. Eastern on the Rugby Network from Zions Bank Stadium. And for our Sunday game on CBS at 3 p.m. Eastern, Rugby United New York taking on Rugby ATL down at Life University. That team is humming. New York coming in here 1-1, ATL 2-1. But this ATL team is really finding their stride right now.
Yeah, definitely. They're sitting right now at 3rd in defense, and they're coming up against a pretty strong New York offense. Obviously, powerful forwards like Dylan Fawcett. They're try scorers. They're going to be tough to stop, and it's going to be tough for ATL to hold them. They may not be able to run all over them quite like they have in the past, but it's going to be a good matchup.
And to that point, to stop Dylan Fawcett, he scores all those tries off of these rolling mauls that they get.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because of penalties. ATL coming in with 44 penalties so far through 3 games. They're really going to have to minimize that. But you talk about this defense, right? This defense from Atlanta is aggressive, and that's the way Scott Lawrence wants them to play. Their whole idea is to get these 2-up tackles, these positive tackles, dominant tackles, put them down behind the gain line, allow your defensive line to come up and reset, and then basically smother you and give you no room. We see that happening right now, and it's just absolutely working out, which is why they've got the 3rd best defense coming in. Their scrums also looking pretty good. ATL at 90%. New York coming in, they're rocking 94%. So their scrums pretty all right now. But New York's lineouts 69% efficiency in their lineouts. So that's something that they're really going to have to clean up if they really want to take on this ATL team.
Definitely, Ryan.
And some of the key players that we got to watch out for here, ATL, Mark O'Keefe, no stranger to New York whatsoever. All right, they know how he plays. He's got 3 tries so far, and then this ATL forwards team, Chance Wingluski, some of the other players, they've been turning up big. They've been scoring these tries, and it'll be going. Also, my favorite player here, Ryan Reese. Welcome to MLR. I'm excited. If you don't know that name, Ryan Reese, you're gonna know it. This kid could be the best scrum half in the league, and that's no disrespect to anybody else. Homegrown talent, out of life, and guess what? He's from right here in Austin, Texas.
Whoop. Gotta love it. ATX, baby.
All right, and then just for that New York side, show them a little bit of love. Matty Leonard, Dylan Fawcett, 2 tries apiece, and then of course they got the KG veteran Ben Foden in that backfield. And then also, welcome to the MLR. 3 big signings: Sonny Ajayi, Daquan Perry, and then my boy, the Nigerian Nightmare, Akinola Raymond, is now playing with Rugby United New York. We might not see them this weekend play, but they're in the training squad and they're looking up. So right now it's looking to shape up to be a great week 4 action of Major League Rugby for Tyler George, I'm Ryan Ginty. Tyler, what do you got to say, man, about this weekend?
All I got to say is Saturday can't come soon enough.
Saturday can't come soon enough. I already introduced us and signed off, but hey, make sure you're checking it out. You've got 5 games to watch. Major League Rugby action, Fox Sports 2, CBS, the Rugby Network. If you're not watching, you're wrong.
You're wrong.
Wrong.